Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jakub Vanish, and today I'm gonna be reviewing Alien Romulus, the new movie from the Alien franchise. So let's get right into it. So yesterday evening, I, as a father of two, kind of sneak out around 10 o'clock in the evening for one of the night shows. This is when, you as a father can probably do something like that because the whole house is asleep, and you don't have to have kind of bad remorse, regarding this. But so I'm glad I did. I'm glad I went. My Twitter or X, feed is actually full of this. The same goes for Reddit, and everybody, is praising the movie, both the critics and also the fans. So I really wanted to see it because, let's say, the last two movies, Prometheus and Covenant, were somehow. I mean, their reception was not the greatest, though they were super nicely done movies, I think, with an interesting premise. What is unfortunate is that they were linked to the Alien franchise, but the linkage is very, very tiny, and people have certain expectations regarding this. However, with this movie, with Alien Romulus, I think people's expectations are definitely met, because we're really going into basically something between Alien 1 and Aliens, so Alien 2, between these two movies from Ridley Scott and James Cameron. Tonally, because I would say the first half is more claustrophobic, more tense, and does really resemble Ridley Scott's first movie, but the second half tries to be more like Aliens, more action oriented. What is something that is super, I think, applaudable regarding this movie, and we can all congratulate them or the makers, is that the budget was only $80 million, which is just incredible, because the let's say the practical effects and the CGI, everything about this movie looks bombastic and really expensive. So it's the similar case that we had with The Creator last year, or with the new Predator movie, The Prey. I think that one was 60 million. Creator was 80 million. This one is also 80 million. Then we had Godzilla Minus One, which is like 10 or 15 million. So it's incredible. For not a lot of money, you can actually make huge blockbusters like this one. And originally this movie was supposed to only be released on Hulu, so on streaming, and Hulu has this partnership basically with Disney, because 20th Century Fox owns Disney. So both of them, basically it would be on Disney Plus as well as on Hulu. And currently, as you can see, it's pouring outside. It's it's ridiculous. Probably the lighting sucks, but it is a bit atmospheric right now here. So it was direct to streaming, or supposed to be like that. But in the end, I think they saw it, including Ridley Scott and even James Cameron, and they said, yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's put it into cinemas. And I'm glad they did, because the movie, with the 80 million budget, already broke even. It already made over 100 million. I think we'll see the numbers today after the first weekend, but I think this will go further, probably to like half a billion even, because that kind of word of mouth, whispering around is super strong for this one. And I will explain what people like about this. I think it's the nostalgia feeling, because there's a lot of member berries, a lot of kind of winking back at the fans of, hey, remember when we did this in Alien 1, remember when we did that in Alien 2. Actually, I think they also have a few moments that are coming back to Covenant and Prometheus. So this is a movie that tries to kind of please all of the fans of the franchise, actually including even Alien Resurrection, because there is a scene that is very similar to this one. So this movie is around 2 hours long, and I think where they are saving is that they decided to go with a younger cast, and I think that is great. You didn't need to really have some memorable actors in this one, but I think all of this younger cast, at least two of these people, will make a huge career out of this, because they were incredible. There was this lady called, what is her name? Swaney, something like that. That's the main character. Her name is Rainey, but I think, I'm not sure what's the actress name. I need to look it up. So that lady did incredible job. And then there is an android, or a robot, that is called Andy. Okay, so her name was Rain and his name is Andy, and they wanted to have a horse called Randy together. So he's her kind of artificial brother or something like that, and he is incredible. He's even better than her, and his name is David Johnson. I think that's the name of the actor, and those performances are great. All of these young kids, they are like, I don't know, between 18 and 24 or something like that, and it's honestly so much better than what we did in Prometheus and Covenant, where you could not connect with the crew at all. Honestly, like with anybody, I didn't care about them at all. Here I cared somehow. I believed them. I really took. Like there is a guy that you are supposed to hate, this cousin character that is just such an asshole, pardon my language, and you really hate him, hate his guts, and you really want the aliens to do terrible things to him because he's such a bad guy. And yeah, you have all of these different archetypes. So the premise of this movie is that it all starts at a colony. And I think this is the first time that we're getting this in the Alien franchise, this look at the colonies and how desperate life is, how bleak it is. And that is actually my favorite part of the movie. Honestly, the first third or first half of the movie was incredible. And I was like at 10 out of 10. Then it kind of loses steam for me because it wants to go more action and more bombastic. But I think they lost it there a little bit. So second half for me is like 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10. So something in between, 7.5 or 8 is where I end up. But at the beginning, we're starting at this colony, and basically our main character, Rain, she needs to work for 12,000 hours, which is like 6 years or something like that, to get a kind of freedom to travel to a new planet, Indara or something like that. I'm not sure what was the name, but there is a sun there. On this colony, there's no sun, and it's just disgusting atmosphere, constantly raining, constantly dark. It's just mining, everybody's sick, and it's just dystopian. And I love that we've never got that zoom look into these colonies in the Alien franchise. And this is such a needed background and refreshing take on the corporation. So I'm glad that we got it here for the Wayland Corporation. So that's the beginning, and then she goes in and asks for the permit to actually leave the planet, and they say actually the quota has been raised, and she asks how much, and from 12,000 to 24, so another 6 years that she would have to spend in this bleak colony. And suddenly her friend, or kind of love interest, or almost a boyfriend, asks her, hey, we might have a plan. I don't know where, but he got like a constructing ship, I think, from his uncle, I think he said, or something like that. And they found out that there is like a derelict station orbiting the planet, and it's gonna get destroyed or smashed with the rings that are orbiting the planet as well within the next 36 hours. So they said, yeah, there are some of these cryopods which we can basically salvage and use them for traveling to this beautiful planet with the suns and with the lush atmosphere that we have always wanted, because it takes 9 years and we need these cryopods. So this band of misfits, scavengers, kind of young people, teens, basically, they travel to that space station, and everything looks great, everything looks amazing. I know people are praising the practical effects here, but actually I think the CGI, or the combination of these two, CGI and practical, is the star in here, because the look of this movie is totally right. The sound of this movie, the look, they really nailed it. So they come, to that station, and it's divided into like two parts, Romulus and Remus, just like in that tale, with the wolves, and the kids in Rome. So they are in Remus first, and it seems to be like a laboratory that is derelict or abandoned or something like that. And it's that creepy atmosphere that is there in the beginning. It's very claustrophobic, super dark. I love that. It was super, super tense. And then they discover the cryopods, but they don't have enough juice, they don't have enough energy, so they need to find the fuel for these cryopods. So they need to go like 400 meters, inside the ship, and then they discover there's like a cryo facility, which is again like forbidden to enter. And when they enter, it locks them, and there is like 80 face huggers in there, and they basically melt, and they regain consciousness, and that's when the shit hits the fan. And that's when basically the action part starts. And this is also the part where one of the weakest points of this movie starts, and that's where we meet Rook. Actually, our first android from the first Alien is there, and I think that CGI or the deepfake that they used here is really subpar. They should have used a bit more time or a bit more money, to fix it up, or used a different android or prosthetics. I don't know, but this is really uncanny to look at, to be honest. So this is one of the weakest parts. And they, then he basically guides them, and they update, Andy's character, this droid of theirs, or this artificial brother that they have, synthetic brother, and he becomes superhuman. It's all so cool. I love that part. So we're still in that first third. Facehuggers are super scary. They get the pilot basically, and then everything is super gruesome. Really, it's disgusting to look at, and I love that. Like it's the look and sound and everything they get so right. I also like some of the new ideas that they have. There's like an X-ray like torch or something like that they put behind their themselves, and you can see the alien inside them, etc. It's so well done. There is even an idea they need to cross into this Romulus part, and it's an area that is infested with facehuggers, all of those 80 facehuggers, and they kind of basically explain or expand the lore of aliens by saying that these facehuggers, they don't have eyes, but they can hear, I think, a little bit, but mainly they can kind of feel the temperature change. So what they decide to do is raise the temperature in the room to match their temperature, so they become kind of invisible to them. But again, whenever they get goosebumps or they sweat, or because they're stressed out, etc., that is gonna change the temperature of them versus the room, and that's how the facehuggers will discover them. So it's super tense. Up until this point, 10 out of 10 movie for me. But then kind of, it goes into wild directions. There are some new introductions. The alien finally bursts, as a chest burster, from the pilot, which was great. Again, it was a bit slow. I expected, a massive chest burst, but they didn't really happen here. And then basically there is a new thing. We see the evolution from, first one to another, where it kind of creates a cocoon that kind of looks like an alien vagina, to be honest, on the wall, a giant cocoon, and out of that cocoon basically comes the xenomorph, already adult one, and finally that asshole cousin gets what he deserved, to be honest. But this is so good, and they play a lot with the fact that xenomorph blood is was it acid? So I loved all of these parts. But then second half goes a little bit crazy. They play with zero gravity. They even have pulse rifles with the correct sound and automated aiming. And at the end we have like a surprise, something where people say it was just the kind of the most gruesome part of it, that they could not look at this. There was like a birth of like a human alien or whatever. So a lady was giving birth, and people just didn't like that. Honestly, I've seen birth twice, so I think this was nothing, to be honest. But that part I didn't like that much. That was totally at the end, and I really didn't enjoy it that much. That kind of human alien form. I know some people did. It kind of resembled the Prometheus guys a little bit. But I don't know what was it. It was kind of taking me out. And honestly, this movie, instead of... I think, it really rushed a lot of things. Like, first half, really tension building, everything great. And then it started to rush towards the end. And that didn't work out for me. Because I would rather have this tense, claustrophobic atmosphere than this. Because then they relied on just basic, jump scares, etc. And sometimes there was this subpar CGI, so that's when it lost the steam for me, because a lot of people online were basically saying, hey, this is the best movie of the year. For me, definitely not. It is up there in like top 10, I guess, because it is really well made, but it's not even as in the same category as Dune Part 2 or or Furiosa. Oh my God, Furiosa was also great. So this is different, but I can recommend it. You know, if you're a fan of the franchise, for sure go out and see it, because yeah, we need to support these kind of movies, especially for the atmosphere, for that first half. You know, maybe you will like it a little bit more than me, because I didn't hate really Prometheus and Covenant. I think the acting and the crew and the writing was a little bit off. That's what I didn't like, and the fact that they tried to kind of link Alien and Prometheus, you know, into one universe, felt forced, to be honest. And that's the only part that I didn't like about it. But otherwise, I think these are a little bit more high quality movies than this one, to be honest. This one was great as a franchise, but it didn't give us much new stuff. It's basically the same kind of memberberry of Alien, something between Alien 1 and Aliens 2. I would say 80% Alien 1 and Aliens 20%, something like this. But let me know what you think about it in the comments. I really want to know about your opinion. Like I said, I'm like 7.5 out of 10. I still enjoyed it a lot, but it's definitely not my favorite movie of the year. But I really want to know about you, so please leave a comment, leave a like. You know, if you hit a subscribe button, that also helps me out. I'm trying to get, you know, to this 1,000 subscribers, which will probably take years. But yeah, I will keep doing this because I enjoy it. So thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. This has been Jakub Vaniš, and I wish you an amazing day. Bye bye bye. Cheers.